Hello detectives, and welcome to my video for June. It's been a really exciting month for me. Very recently we finally announced the cover and the title of the 7th murder mystery in my Murder Most Unladylike series, and it is going to be called Death in the Spotlight. You can pre-order Death in the Spotlight now, but if you go onto the Waterstones website to pre-order it, you'll be entered into a special prize draw where the winner gets the chance to choose a name for a character in a future Murder Most Unladylike book. I'm so excited about the competition. I'm so pleased to see that you're all happy about the title Death in the Spotlight and Nina Tara's amazing cover for the book, which you can see on my website. And Death in the Spotlight will be coming out on the 4th of October this year in the UK and Ireland. I do have one more exciting announcement coming up in the next week. I can't tell you what it is yet, but I promise you, you'll be very excited when you hear about it. I've been very busy this month, as usual, but I've also taken time to read, and I've chosen 5 books that I've particularly enjoyed recently, and I think you will too. They're all on the theme of Pride, because June is Pride Month in the UK and the rest of the world, and I hope you'll really enjoy them. And the first book I've chosen this month is a picture book, and it's Julian is a Mermaid by Jessica Love. I think this book is fantastic. It's beautifully illustrated as well as written by Jessica, and you can see that the illustrations are fantastic. It's all about a boy called Julian who sees some mermaids on the tube, and he realizes that he really wants to be a mermaid too. So when he and his grandma go home, Julian decides to dress up as a mermaid. But he doesn't know whether his grandma is going to like it or not, whether she's going to approve of him being a mermaid or she's going to tell him that he can't be a mermaid. You'll have to see what happens at the end of this book, but it is such a charming read. It's so beautiful. It's a really lovely story about being whoever you want to be and about family supporting you in that, which is also really important. I would say that this book is for anyone 2+ who loves dressing up, who loves imagining that they could be different things and different people, and for parents who want to encourage their children to do just that. It is the most lovely, most charming book, and it's also been endorsed by RuPaul from RuPaul's Drag Race, so I don't think my endorsement is going to be quite as good as hers. The next book I've chosen is a graphic novel, and it's Spinning by Tillie Walden. This is an autobiographical graphic novel. It is Tillie's own story. She really did grow up in Texas, and she grew up at an ice skating rink, practicing and practicing and practicing, trying to become a figure skater. And it is all about that strange world, all about Tillie trying to make friends, trying to fit in, and slowly realizing that maybe she doesn't like boys, maybe she likes girls. This is a beautiful book. It's gorgeously illustrated as well as written by Tillie. It is a little bit sad and mournful sometimes because Tillie is feeling so lonely in this story. A lot of the illustrations are quite mournful, but you do know at the end that it's going to be okay because, of course, this is an autobiography. Tillie grows up to be a very famous graphic novelist, very successful, so you feel quite glad to read it as well as very sad about the things that she goes through. It is a beautiful portrait of someone's life, and I think you will really enjoy it if you like graphic novels, if you enjoy ice skating, if you are an ice skater, and if you want to find out a bit more about what that life entails. I would say that it's for anyone 10+. The next book I've chosen is a romantic comedy. It is a novel for 10+, and it is Boy Meets Hamster by Birdie Milano. The story starts with Dylan and his family and his best friend Kayla all heading off to a caravan park, Star-Crossed Sands, for what is supposed to be a dream holiday. Dylan is really not happy at all because his mum always books them on these dream holidays that turn out to be not very dreamy at all. He is not looking forward to a summer in Star-Crossed Sands. But then, just after they arrive, Dylan looks out of his caravan window and sees that the boy in the caravan next door is the most gorgeous boy that he has ever seen in his life, and he falls instantly in love with this boy, Jaden Lee. Dylan decides that he has to make Jaden Lee fall in love with him back, and so he and Kayla go on a mission to make Jaden Lee realize how amazing Dylan is. But this mission is being thwarted at every turn by a very annoying person in a life-size hamster suit, the mascot of Star-Crossed Sands, who seems to be trying to stop Dylan doing what he wants to do and getting Jade and Lee's attention. Of course, things are not all what they seem, and there are lots of twists and turns in the tale, but Dylan does find true love in the end, and it is very romantic and very funny and very sweet. I really enjoyed this book. It reminded me a lot of another book that I read quite recently, Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda, which was made into a film called Love, Simon, which you might have seen. It was really wonderful. That is quite a lot like this, only this is set in England, not in America. I would say this is perfect for anyone who loves romantic comedies, who loves feel-good stories, who loves funny stories, who like stories about friendship and family and believing in who you are and being brave about that. And I would say this is for anyone 10 plus. Now, the next book I've chosen ties into the last one a lot because remember I said The Boy Meets Hamster reminded me of Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda. That book is by an author called Becky Albertalli, and the next book I've chosen is Leah on the Offbeat by Becky. This is Becky's third book and it is just as fantastic as her other two. It is sort of the sequel to Simon, except it follows one of Simon's best friends who is a sort of minor character in that story, Leah. This book picks up a few months later when all is not quite as well in Leah's life. All of her friends are getting ready to go off to university. She's feeling a bit awkward, a bit uncertain about the next phase in her life, and she's also slowly realizing that she's developing feelings that she's not very happy about for one of her other friends, her friend Abby. Abby and Leah are really thrown together in this story. They spend more and more time together, and Leah is forced to confront how she feels about Abby and decide what she wants to do about it before prom comes around at the end of the school year. This is another really sweet, funny, romantic book. I really liked it because you don't often see books about girls who are bisexual who like girls as well as boys, and this does it in a really nice way. I wish there were more books like this, but I'm really pleased that Becky has written this one. I would say that it is for anyone 12 plus who likes Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda, who likes books about high school, about kids who seem very real, very similar to you and your friends, and also people who love love stories. For my final book, I always choose a classic, a book that I have loved over the years and now I want to share with you. Usually I talk about one that I read when I was a child, but now I'm going to talk about one that I read a little later. I read it just after it came out, but I read it before I became an author, and it really made me believe that I could be an author, that I could write books for teenagers and for kids that were murder mysteries. And this book is A Heart-Shaped Bruise by Tanya Byrne. Heart-Shaped Bruise is written as letters from the main character, Emily, to her friend, Juliet, and to the reader. And they tell the story, at first quite confusing, quite fragmented, of a terrible thing that Emily did in her past that means she is now in prison. She is now in a young offenders institution called Archway Young Offenders Institution for whatever crime she did. And as you read through the book, you start working out what that crime might have been and why she committed it. I love books that are set in the form of letters. I love books that are very immediate and where the narrators really talk to you. And Emily is a narrator who will really grip you. You will not be able to put this book down. Tanya is a fantastic writer. This is her first book, but it is incredibly accomplished and incredibly engrossing. It is perfect for anyone who loves crime fiction, who loves really interesting, twisty narrators, who loves solving mysteries and working things out. I think you will really like this book if you have loved my books, but you feel like you might be getting a little bit too old for them. You want to read something a bit darker, a bit more scary and exciting, and this is the book for you. Tanya's books are all fabulous. She's also written a book called Follow Me Down, and she's got a short story in the Change anthology that I think is wonderful. So keep an eye out for Tanya's work, and you should definitely read this book. I would say it's perfect for anyone 14 plus. So that's my video for June 2018. Check back next month when I can finally reveal the announcement that I can't talk about in this video, and also tell you about more of my favourite books that I've been reading. I'm doing a few more events this summer, one on Saturday the 30th at Pickled Pepper Books, one on Saturday the 7th of July at Oxford Waterstones and one in August at the Edinburgh Book Festival. Now, I know that a lot of you tried to get tickets for the Edinburgh Book Festival event and most of you were not successful. There were so many people who wanted to come see me and I'm so grateful to you for wanting to do that. Don't worry, I do know that you want to see me and I'm working as hard as I can to think of solutions to how as many of you as possible will be able to meet me and talk to me and get your book signed. So I will also be announcing that hopefully in a month or two. Thanks so much for watching and have a lovely summer.